So we have an online question. This one is from Gabriella Mason from California. Families are struggling to pay their bills, afford groceries, let alone save for their future. In the last 4 years, food prices have risen nearly 26%. When is my dollar going to be a dollar again, and how fast can we get back to a 2019 normalcy?
There you go. You got to help us out here.
Well, the best thing we can do to lower prices is to elect Donald J. Trump President of the United States. That is the first and most important thing we got to do. And then I'll talk a little bit about what comes after. But I got to tell you this story. So we were actually in Reading, Pennsylvania for this. We were at a small Latino grocery store. The owners had just bought that grocery store a couple years prior, and my boys were with me, my 7-year-old boy and my 4-year-old boy, and they just wanted to come with Daddy on the campaign trail, and we were having a good time out there. And I'm standing, it illustrates how different kids are, because I tell the two of them, you can get anything you want. And the 4-year-old is trying to get like a gallon of ice cream, right? He's like me. And the 7-year-old, who's like his mama, is trying to get me to buy like a dozen or 2 dozen eggs. And I'm like, son, I meant like a candy. Like, go buy some chocolate. And he's like, no, Dad, you made the last 3 eggs this morning. If you don't get more eggs, Mommy's going to be really mad. It's like, okay, buddy, thanks for looking out. Very practical. But there were, of course, cameras falling around, because there always are. And so I grabbed some eggs. And I pointed out that eggs have gotten way more expensive under Kamala Harris's leadership. And in fact, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, eggs are about $3.20 a dozen from $1.50 a dozen. That's a huge price increase in just 3.5 years. And I unfortunately fear it's going to get worse if we promote her to president. But I was kind of joking with my kids. I said, yeah, this is really important to my family, because my kids, these guys eat about 14 eggs a day. Obviously exaggerating, right? Making a joke about my kids who do eat who do eat a lot. So I had some journalist fact check me and say, there's no way that a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old could eat 14 eggs a day. And I'm like, it would be like me saying, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. And then the journalist being like, JD, in fact, ate a normal man-sized meal, not a horse, right? And you realize, the media sometimes in this country is so obsessed with misleading us that they don't actually report, some of these real stories of people who are suffering. But I think the most important thing, to answer the questioner's question, is a lot of us don't fully appreciate how energy prices go into everything else. And so think about it. If you're, a construction worker and you're building a house, but the truck driver who's delivering the lumber to the job site is paying 50% more for diesel, then that house is getting more expensive, right? Yeah. And if you're a grocery store and the truck driver who delivers the groceries or the farmers who are producing the food are paying 50% more for energy, then that's going to make all our groceries go up. So the most important thing that we can do, Donald Trump always says this, drill, baby, drill. Lower the costs of energy, and that's the most important thing that we can do to lower the cost of food. And then the second thing to make life more affordable is, look, the government has got to stop spending trillions upon trillions of dollars that it doesn't have. When you do that, you increase the price of everything. Because think about it, when you're printing all this money to cover the government's debts, then all the dollars that are in our pockets become more and more worthless over time. And so, I hate to say it, Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote in trillions of dollars in new spending. We got to get her out of there and put somebody with common economic sense back in the White House.
And you see this all the time when you're in the grocery store. Everyone is commenting how expensive everything, isn't it? Yeah. Are you over there by the eggs, by the cheese, by the milk, and everybody's like, I can't believe this has gotten so expensive.
Nobody knows like a mama.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
For us to balance our checkbooks and just afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, in our family, probably unlike most families, I tend to do more of the grocery shopping, at least until 3 months ago. Something changed 3 months ago. And I was just, it's shocking how much how much more expensive these things are. To get a steak at a grocery store compared to 3.5 years ago, it is just so much more money. I don't know how any middle-class person can afford in Kamala Harris's economy to live a good life. We've got to get back to basic common sense here.